Let's begin with news from the FIFA Women's World Cup, where Nigeria's Super Falcons bowed out of the competition as they were defeated 4-2 in penalties by European champions England after the game finished goalless in regulation time. Nigeria went on the front foot for most of the game as both sides searched for the winning goal in a frantic contest. This Oparanozie, who came on as an extra time substitute, and Michelle Alozie both put their spot kicks wide as the Three Lions coasted to victory despite failing to convert their first penalty. And I am glad to say that I have got Deji Omotoyinbo joining me here. It's always a pleasure to have you. Anytime we have you, something important has happened. This time, the Falcons have bowed out of the FIFA Women's World Cup. It's been a very it wasn't the kind of tournament most Nigerians were optimistic heading to. But as the tournament continued, the interest grew here in Nigeria.
Well, you know, Nigerians always have high expectations, but the expectations were tempered somewhat by the performance of this team at the last WAFCON, where they came fourth. And, you know, having dominated Africa, that was underwhelming a bit. And then going to this tournament, all the shenanigans and all the, sorry to say, nonsense that went on between the coach and the NFF, the back and forth, didn't give us any positive foreboding. But they got to the tournament. They played the Olympic champions first, got a decent point, and then that fantastic performance against the host Australia, winning that, getting the point they needed to get into the group stage. And then against England, they were massive underdogs. And you can understand that. The English are the European champions, and they've played so well over the past few years. And considering the fact that a lot of top teams had gone out, the English fancied their chances. But it was such an excellent defensive performance. And they were not defensive, not that they were negative. And for you to play, to put it in context, Nigeria played both the Olympic champions and the European champions as part of the opponents in this tournament, 3 clean sheets. That says a lot. You can argue that we didn't do enough on the front foot, but it just goes to show you that there's something in there, and you have to commend the girls for what has turned out to be an excellent performance that most of us didn't expect.
So I'll ask the question most Nigerians want to ask. How did the Falcons go from that team that was so below par at the WAFCON to being so good at the World Cup?
I think they felt that they disappointed a lot of people, including the coach, that they really underwhelmed and they disappointed a lot of people, and they needed to give people a true version of themselves. And, you know, they played a few friendlies and all of that, and I think they came to this tournament with the point to prove that, no, we're not as bad as people think. And then, you know, the way we tend to coast in Africa, maybe there was a bit of complacency at WAFCON, and the other teams showed that they had caught up with us in a lot of ways. So, and to extrapolate it, 3 out of 4 African countries got to the knockout stage, although 2 of them are out now. But
so
that says a lot. And if you look at a team like South Africa managed to beat, they lost their last game, but they managed to almost beat Sweden. Were leading Argentina by 2-0 before they threw it away, and they beat Italy. So you have these African teams that are doing well against top-class, world-class opposition at this level, and it's good to see.
Okay, so now the question always is, what's the next step? The big question is, after all that happened between the NFF and Randy Waldrum in the build-up to this World Cup, a lot has been said. Do you think he stays? Do you think maybe the Falcons go a different direction?
Knowing the ego, I'm sorry, I'd play in terms of our national associations, I'm not sure he stays after all that has been said. But I would feel that if he wants to stay, the reasonable and responsible thing to do will sit across the table, the gray areas, the points of disagreement, and let's move forward with him, if possible. A lot of people, including myself, criticize him at WAFCON, criticize him going to this tournament, but I think he's built a core of a team that believe in themselves. So maybe let him stay to the next WAFCON. Maybe they can get back to winning. But knowing what has transpired and knowing the ego at play in official quarters locally, I'm not too sure.
He could argue, though, that he was hired by the previous NFF administration.
It doesn't matter. It's a continuum. You're hired by the previous...
Maybe he had problems with that set.
Maybe
he might be trying to fix it.
But, you know, there was a back and forth. It was a slanging match virtually, which was not nice to see between him and the present NFF through the PRO, which... I think was ill-advised to have responded to like that. But for me, for the good of the game, for the common good of the team, if we feel that he's good enough to continue, let him continue, irrespective of what has transpired. You try and sit down, you try and give him probably a new set of rules, but let's see how we move. Because I think it's built a core, and I think we also know that this team has some players that we know they're on their last legs, they will move out, but we are lucky to have another set coming through. Look at Deji and this tournament, captain of the under-20 team. Look at Abiodun, the girls that we miss so much. Fantastic performance against Canada. And they've shown that they can mix it with the best. And so there's something to build on.
All right, so the Falcons are out, the European champions are through, but the Olympic champions are out, the reigning champions are out. Who are the guys to look out for at this World Cup now going forward?
I'll be surprised if Japan don't win this tournament. They are by far the best team I've seen in this tournament. The way they play, the way they progress the ball, the precise passes, the chances they create, the way they take their chances, the way they defend. So anybody that beats Japan will be in the right frame. But I would choose Japan as the favorites for me going forward.
All right, we'll hold it at that. But one word around the Tigress, though. The Nigerian women.
The girls are doing everything right.
And to think that they all had a bit of controversy heading to those tournaments.
To be honest with you, the fact that they won this tournament doesn't excuse what went on before. I honestly do not think it's proper to have an open cap to pick a national team. But I know there were reasons for trying to do it like that, to get around certain situations. Maybe that's a discussion for another day. And then there talks that the coach was chosen by
there was an individual open session to pick
and all
players.
of that. And the coach was chosen by one individual and the rest of the board members. But let's leave all of that. What it just underlines is the talent pool that we have and the quality that we have. And great job by Rena Wakama, who's gone on to become the first, only female to win that competition. And the fact that we won it 4 times on the bounce shows that there's a lot of talent in there. What I would appeal to the MBBF right now is get basketball going locally. Where is the league? Where are the local competitions? Don't let's just focus on these international competitions, because as we have seen, we're very good at the top, but the developmental pool has to continue. The league has to be up and running. Congratulations to the Tigers. They did it again against all odds. Kudos to them.
All right. Thank you very, very much for coming through Deji Omotoyinbo here. Next time you see him, maybe something else. I just won the World Cup. Thank you very much for coming. Let's continue with action from the FIFA Women's World Cup, where goals from Jill Roord and Lynette Abestein powered Netherlands to a 2-0 victory over South Africa in the round of 16 of their clash at the competition. The result sets up a quarterfinal fixture between the Dutch and Spain after La Roja thrashed Switzerland by 5-1 on Saturday. The quarterfinal match between Spain and Netherlands will take place on Friday, while the other quarterfinal will see Japan take on Sweden after the Asian giants thumped Norway by 3-1, and Sweden shocked defending champions the United States 5-4 in penalties after the game had finished 5-4 in regulation time.